By popular demand, my friends, family, loved ones, and beyond have asked me to come forward and share my story on a much larger scale. So this is my first attempt at reaching out to y'all and really trying to touch base on everything that I went through before, during, and after my accident, and how not only me, but those of you affected by different injuries, today's world, COVID, whatever it may be, can push forward and do better for yourself and for your family. So for those of y'all who don't know who I am, my name's Addison. Everybody calls me Addie Lynn. I live in Fort Benning, Georgia, with my lovely fiance, Devin Ratliff. I was born in Texas. I was actually born on Fort Hood. And I was raised in Texas pretty much all my life. And I have been all over the world, all over Texas. And for the first 4 years of my life, I actually lived between Germany, Arizona, Texas, and Georgia. And then after my dad got out of the Army and my parents actually separated, I spent the rest of my life in Texas and didn't ever leave again. I didn't have the easiest upbringing. I have 7 other siblings. I have 6 sisters, including myself, and 2 brothers. My oldest brother being the oldest one in the family, and then my youngest brother being the last child that made it out. My lovely mom, who did everything in her power to raise us all right, but Lord help her, we are all heathens in different ways. And then my lovely stepdad, who really stepped in and became my number one person and introduced me to what turned out to be the reason for my being in life. I was very big and heavy in softball from 6 to my senior year in high school. I played league ball, travel ball, in school. And in between that, I started showing cattle and getting involved with 4-H and FFA, which kind of sparked my love for agricultural economics and marketing and things like that. I was involved in public speaking, and shortly thereafter in high school, after I graduated, I got into roping, rodeo, and things like that, and that kind of took off for me as well. After having such a big success in that, I knew I wanted to take it further. I was learning livestock judging. I was learning the problem in today's world via agricultural issues, and problems with the world understanding what it really is. So I wanted to take that a step further. Unfortunately, those plans did not work out, and I planned on enlisting in the Army, and I got all the way up to ready to sign, and I met my now fiance and wound up not going through with that because my main focus was starting my own family and going somewhere new, and the fact that I had somebody that I could love with my whole heart really made me want to solely focus on that and not necessarily just jump the gun and enlist. And so those are just a few hidden things about me, but the most interesting part would be about 4 months ago. I had taken a job outside of Fort Benning, Georgia, at Pine Mountain, and I was doing ranch work for a company up there, and we were bringing cows from the south pasture up to the north pasture to get shots, be cut, and different things like that. And so we were going, and little did I know that this would be my last time ever walking, feeling, or being normal. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. Basically what happened was sod had covered a 3-foot pothole, and nobody could see it. There was no way of detecting that was there, or that what was gonna happen was gonna happen. And basically my horse fell right into it, and we fell together. I don't remember much. I remember waking up, and I was in a helicopter, and then I got put back to sleep, and shortly thereafter I woke up to a white ceiling, and I didn't really know what was going on. I knew I was in the hospital, and that was about all I knew. My clothes got shredded off of me, and I remember not being able to turn my head. They had me in a neck brace and my body was restrained down to a table. And then there was just a bunch of needles. All I saw was a bunch of needles because I couldn't even talk. Luckily, they put me back to sleep. I didn't wake up again until a day and a half later. And I woke up in Atlanta, and I was still in a neck brace, and I still didn't know that I was paralyzed. I knew that I didn't know what was going on, and thank God that Devin was there to hold my hand, because I felt extremely alone in the moment. But him holding my hand and really being there for me played a huge part into this whole thing, a huge part. And you'll see and kind of understand why I praise him as much as I do, because without him, I would have died multiple times. And so about a week in, they kept running tests on me, and they found out that I have what's called severe spinal cord syndrome. It is from my T4 all the way down to my T10. And then I have a disc compressing my L4 and L5 lumbar region in my back, which keeps me from feeling. And my spinal cord syndrome is what keeps me from being able to move and be able to maneuver my body the way a normal person would. If you know me, and if you don't know me, I'm a very stubborn, hard-headed person. I don't take no for an answer ever. And I know Devin's gonna be looking at this and going, oh gosh. But it's true, I don't take no for an answer, and I try my hardest when I do something. And so my mindset went from going, okay, I'm staying in the hospital, I have a back injury, to I'm gonna walk out of here. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna walk out of here. This whole thing, we're just gonna pretend it didn't happen. Life's gonna go back to normal, and I'm gonna go back to work. And that lasted for maybe 15 minutes, because next thing they came in and told me was, hey, you're never gonna walk again. And you're never gonna sustain a normal life again. And there are steps that we need to take to prepare you for that. And in the moment, it didn't bother me. It bothered Devin more than it bothered me. Because I wasn't worried about how it was affecting me necessarily. I was more worried about how is it gonna affect my family? How is this gonna affect Devin, his job, my friends, what little friends I'd had, my mom, my dad, things like that, my siblings. How are people gonna view me? How am I gonna work? Things like that. I was worried more about that than crap, I can't do these things at all. And so the sleep stopped. Once I was awake, and then we started with therapy and needles, more tests. I suffered a severe concussion as well, and that kind of put me in and out of things a little bit. So that was more or less the small thing compared to a wheelchair. So about 2 weeks later, I got moved down to the 11th floor with the most amazing staff. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning, and this was one of the first nights that Devin actually went home, and I had to stay there by myself. And I think that was the most gut-wrenching night of my entire life, because I wanted to so bad, because I had nobody there to tell me no, get up and try and walk, and I couldn't even wiggle my toes. And so we got me moved down to a regular unit, and I slept through the night, and then the next morning Devin drove back up, and the first thing that they brought in was this big wheelchair. And if you've ever been in the hospital or you ever go to the ER, the standard big wheelchairs, they brought one of those into me, and they said, it's time for you to start learning how to use this, because this is gonna be your daily. And I remember thinking okay, maybe a little bit, but I should still be able to, get up and go to the bathroom and things like that. Well, getting into the wheelchair and things like that, my initial thought when I first got in the wheelchair was where have I been going to the bathroom? How have I can't feel that anymore. I noticed that I couldn't feel that I was hungry. I couldn't feel myself needing to go to the bathroom. I literally could not feel anything but my chest, my arms. I can't feel right below, right above my belly button, really. And so that's when they told me, you have a catheter in now, but we're gonna have to teach you how to retrain your bladder and things like that. after that, we moved on to intense therapy sessions, 2-3 hours a day, where I was learning how to transfer from my hospital bed to my wheelchair, from my wheelchair to the bathroom, from my wheelchair to different types of surfaces and things like that. I would wheel down the hallway. Devin actually was able to bust me out of there for a little while and finally took me downstairs, and I was able to go outside and kind of sit outside. And that moment was also very hard for me because I'm a big extrovert. I like being outside and I like doing bunches of different things on the daily. I don't stop. And I remember him taking me outside after therapy, and he said that I did really good, so he wanted me to get some fresh air. And while I thought it was gonna be an amazing experience, and while I thought that I was just going to enjoy fresh air, it was nothing but people, and people being able to walk, and people being able to walk and talk on their phone, or walk and talk and eat their food, or, you know, walk into the hospital and just be perfectly normal. And even though that they had their own issues, you could blatantly see that it wasn't on the outside, that they could still sustain a normal life. And here I was getting stared at because I am a 20-year-old female and I'm in a wheelchair and I can't get out of it because, well, I can't move anything. I can't walk. I couldn't crawl either at the time. And so I sat there and I just breathed in what I thought would be fresh air, when really it kind of felt toxic. And with that, I took into myself and into my head, you know, what are you going to do about this? And so fast forward, it was like that for about another 3 weeks. And then they decided to get me into a rehab center, an inpatient rehab center, which was like 5 minutes down the road. It was in another hospital, and there I'd be admitted for 14 days. And I got there and I had the most amazing staff there as well. I had a physical therapist, an occupational therapist, and then a speech therapist, which that day I got there and I kind of relaxed, and the next day they brought in a different wheelchair, and this one was a little bit smaller. This one actually was a lot smaller, and it was black and it had a big cushion in it. It was filled with air, and they said, "This is your best friend." And I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so much smaller and less noticeable, what I thought. And they got me into it and they put shoes on me. This was the first time I had worn shoes in literally a month and a half. And finally I got to wear Crocs, and they put my Crocs on me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't feel my Crocs going on my feet. And so they got me in my wheelchair, and then they wheeled me down to the gym. The gym was this huge area and it had a whole bunch of therapy things. And I thought that I could really, you know, take an opportunity and grow from it. And I really thought I could. And then I noticed that I was the youngest person there, and I was the only person that could not walk. I was the only person that could not walk, and literally the rest of everybody else was like 16 above. And everybody like came over to me and was like patting my shoulder and was like, "Sweetie, like you're gonna be okay," or "Sweetie, like don't let this hold you back," or, you know, like, "You're so pretty, like how did you end up here?" And I'm just like, these are not questions that I want to be asked right now. These are not things that I want going through my head. And this is literally like within the first 24 hours of being there, I'm being bombarded with questions because, oh, I'm 20 years old and I'm in a wheelchair, and I'm still not even like okay with being in a wheelchair full time. And so I was respectful, but I ignored it. I didn't answer any questions. And looking back on it, I feel really bad because I wish that I could have just hugged, you know, a couple of those older ladies tighter, just a little bit more. There I built up my upper body strength. I did various exercises and things like that. And for the next few days, and I learned how to shower. I learned how to sit on my bench, transfer from my wheelchair to the shower. I learned how to take my clothes off without not being able to move my legs. How to put on my shoes and things like that. And so that was a majority of my rehab stay. And mentally, like, I had a block on, and I did mentally grow from rehab. It was all about my physical body. And I still had to decide whether I was gonna mentally grow within myself, or if I was just gonna accept who I am and just go about my business and really just remain the same that I was before. And each day that went by, the more I found that it was not okay to do that. And so finally, I got released from rehab 7 days early. I went from being needed there for 14 days to being in there barely 7. I had passed all of my tests. I met the physical requirements to be released, and I got told that I had actually been the fastest, paralysis recovery that they've ever had. So I got sent home in a wheelchair, and me and Devin knew that this was a really big moment for us, but we really didn't know about how life was going to be afterwards. And still, I wasn't ready to do anything with my life. I wasn't ready, like, in the moment I felt like, okay, well, I'm just going to stay at home, and like, I'm going to be stuck here, and I'm going to be stuck eating cereal and things like that because I can't cook. And so Devin stood by me every single day, every single hour, grew out a beard, grew out his hair, barely got to shower, but he was with me every single therapy session. He watched me fall asleep. He was there when I woke up, and I could not be more grateful to have a support system like him, because I love him so, so, so much. So my first car ride home was interesting because I was in downtown Atlanta. And instead of getting to go straight home, I actually had to go to the pharmacy to pick up meds, and I was on blood thinning medicine because of circulatory issues, because whenever you suffer from a spinal cord injury, especially from the bottom half of your body, and you can't feel, let alone move, you get like blood clots and things like that. And I have a really bad swelling problem, and my feet don't circulate, so they like turn purple. And so I had to go get medicine to help like ease all of that. And they put me on antidepressants because I did not have the best attitude at all about the entire thing. And because I kept asking myself, like, why me? I don't deserve this. Why couldn't this happen to a criminal? Or why couldn't this happen to somebody who's lived out their life? Or why couldn't this happen to somebody who deserved it? Not that anybody does deserve it, but there are more people out there who deserve it more than most. And I thought that that wasn't me. And so I thought that the whole car ride home, and I saw people walking everywhere. I saw people driving. I saw people getting in and out of their cars. I saw people doing normal people things, and each bump hurt. And I literally did not know what to do with that. And so finally I got home, and like I said, if you know me, I have 2 cats, and they are full-bred brothers, and they are literally my babies. And I had never been so excited to see my animals, and it was a bittersweet moment because I left my house being completely normal and thinking that I was going to come home from work, I was going to cook dinner for, Devin, and that everything would be fine, to coming home in a wheelchair, unable to do literally anything, in an immense amount of pain. I did not look the same at all. And I couldn't even feed my cats because I couldn't move. And so I went down a path that I don't wish on anybody mentally. And anybody mentally or physically struggling, I really want you to listen. I really want you to adhere. And I really want you to understand that I hear you, and that I have been in your shoes, and it is not easy. It is not easy to wake up every day. It's not easy to get out of bed. It's not easy to force yourself to eat. It's not easy to look at yourself in the mirror. There are so many things that you can't see yourself doing anymore because you are just in this rough spot. And I promise that getting to the other side makes it so worth it in the end, especially to the loved ones around you. So for the next week, I laid on the couch and I didn't do anything but eat normal people food because, homegirl, let me tell you, I cannot stand hospital food. Roast beef, gross. The waffles, disgusting. The only thing that was good is I was getting fruit trays. So, like, I've never valued popcorn more than right now. And so, I swear, I literally ate so much Taco Bell that I'm surprised I didn't turn into a taco. That's the only thing I wanted. And so Devin would go get me Taco Bell like 3 or 4 times a day, and that's what I would snack on. And I had my cats next to me, and I would watch. I'm pretty sure I covered the entire seasons of SVU, Special Victims Unit, in the week that I was home. That and Live PD. Live PD really kept me going. And I just kept going down this downhill spiral where I wasn't even like, I'd shower enough to clean myself off, and then that was the most that you would see of me for another like 5 to 6 days. And it was like this for about another month. My relationship failed dramatically very, 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 very fast because of how depressed I was and how sorry for myself I was and how like consumed I was in the like looking at this wheelchair. And I wasn't seeing myself, I was seeing 4 wheels, and that being my only way of having a future. And I didn't think that that was able to happen. And so finally, I don't know, to be honest. Everybody asked me this question, I still don't know the answer to it. And when I know the answer to it, y'all will be the first to know. But one day I broke. I snapped in half. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I prayed so hard. I said, I can't do this anymore. It's either you let me die or you fix me and put me back together. And then I thought to myself, okay, that's not fair, because the only person that can pick themselves up is me. The only person that can do anything about their life right now is me. Devin can only do so much. My mom can only do so much. The surroundings of me can only do so much. I am the only one that can get off the couch and get into my wheelchair. I'm the only one that can go from my wheelchair to the shower. I am the only one that can decide I don't want to eat cereal or Taco Bell today. I'm gonna get up and make chicken, and I'm gonna find a way to do it. And I did. With a few accidents, but I did it. And I remember being so proud of myself that first day that I took a shower by myself, where I didn't have to have Devin standing over me helping me shower. I didn't have a nurse, or I didn't smell like hospital. I smelled like myself, and I was able to do that by myself. Or I was able to go to the bathroom by myself because I didn't have bladder control. I didn't have control over any of that. And without getting into great detail, you can only assume how scary that is and how embarrassing it is at 20 years old to not be able to control when I go to the bathroom and where I go to the bathroom, because I can't get there fast enough. And so being able to take those steps by myself was like, okay, I can do this. So that means if I can do that, then I can do this. Which means if you're struggling right now and at least you got out of bed, that means you can at least go from the bed to the shower. And even if that's get out of bed and go to the shower and then go back to bed, at least you got out of bed and went to the shower. And so I started developing this mentality of doing that over and over and over and over again until I finally could sleep in my bed. That was a huge day for me and Devin. I remember being able to get up and go shower and be able to wheel around my living room and pick up my cats and set them in my lap, or being able to go get a glass of water without spilling it or breaking the glass, like things like that became huge. But the night that me and Devin decided to go back to our bedroom was huge. That is the most normalcy that I have ever felt in my entire life. Again, if you're close to me and you know me, and if you don't, you're gonna know now, I have overwhelming separation anxiety, especially from people that I love. And not being able to sleep next to the one person who stood behind me, good, bad, ugly, gym socks and tuna fish, like all of that, like killed my heart. And so the first night that I was able to do that, I was so proud of the fact that him and I could get to that point. Even though it's just sleeping, like we literally got there just to go to sleep. And I did go to sleep, and that was the best sleep that I had gotten in my entire life. And then I got up again and I said, okay, you know what? If I can sleep in bed, I can get up and make myself breakfast. And if I can make myself breakfast, I can clean up after myself. I'm not gonna leave that there for days until somebody decides to pick it up. And in all of this, I was not active as much on social media. I asked for the prayers, and both of us did. And we both were in need of just outside support without getting inside attention, if that makes sense. And so I kind of shut my social media off. I shut everything out, and I started just to solely focus on being truly happy within myself and with others, and just accepting the fact that this is who I am. So I noticed that the people that I had surrounded myself with before my accident were temporary people, were temporary situations and were temporary relationships that really didn't matter. because those friends that really loved me and really cared for me and said that they would be there through anything magically disappeared when I lost my legs. They magically disappeared whenever I was in need of help. When it wasn't about them, or it wasn't about doing what was best for me or what I needed in the moment, it didn't matter. And they all just sort of kind of dissipated. And that's when I knew, like, you don't have anybody's back but yourself. You don't have anybody else to stand behind. You may have a few friends and a few people that you can probably count on one hand that'll really be there if something happens. But if something really happens, the first person to take charge of any situation is going to be yourself. And life got so much easier after realizing that. You stop caring what people think. You stop caring what people will say. You stop caring how people see you, because as long as you're happy and content in here and in your and like inside yourself, then you're going to be so much more well off. And so I told myself, I was like, what am I going to do about it? How am I going to just get up and start a career and go back to normal and show people, like, I am still the same as you are, but I'm stronger. I can still do the same things you can do, just differently, and honestly, a lot better. Or how am I going to explain to people when they say, hey, you're 20 years old in a wheelchair? Unfortunate events happen, but I will tell anybody that asks me and who has asked me, I wouldn't change my accident for the world. Humility has been my best friend, and being grateful for what I have has also been something that really just kept me going. And that's still what keeps me going today. I'm a completely different person than I was 6 months ago. I'm a completely different person than I even was a month ago. I am still growing. I am still, sorry, a box fell over. I'm still growing, and I have a lot of growing left to do. And so by no means is this a one-time fix-all conversation. It's gonna be steps, it's gonna be months, it's gonna be years. And I promise you, a year from now, I want to be that person that you can look up to and say, this is why I did it, and say that, you know, you're worth something within your own self. And so moving forward was also a big point that I had to get a point, like, across to myself, where it was, okay, I see myself and I want to grow, but I see myself in not a wheelchair. If you also know the situation, I gave Devin 3 times to leave. I said, you can go find somebody normal and you can go develop a life that is sustainable with them. And you deserve that, because he does. He deserves somebody that can give him the entire world. And at the time, I didn't think that I could do that. And he said, no, you're funny. Good luck, because I'm not going anywhere and you can't get rid of me. And I didn't believe it until about a month and a half ago, but he really meant it. And he didn't see me as a wheelchair. He still saw me as Addie. He still saw me as the cow-obsessed, Texas-loving, burger-chewing, like, person that he decided that he wanted to be with. And even though I didn't see that in myself, he still saw that in me. And that was something a lot of people still didn't see in me. And that is something that I craved, was just stop seeing me and my 4 wheels, like, see me as me, and see me as not a disability, but as a human. And disabilities come in all shapes, forms, sizes, circumstances, and situations all the time. If you have a mental problem, or you have a physical problem, or you're just simply lost, just take the step. Just take that first step and really do it, because nobody else can do it but you. Nobody else can make the change but you. Nobody else can get the fuck up and go about their own life but you. And while I used to be so emotional about it, I still get kind of emotional, but I'm not as emotional anymore, because it's cut and dry. It is black and white. It's get up and do it. One thing every day. And I grew 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 to who I am now. And now I wheel around popping wheelies in my house all the time. I have a beautiful dog. She's a doodle, and she's become my best friend. Even though she's a daddy's girl, but whatever, that doesn't even matter. She still loves me more sometimes. And I developed this little family. And then I decided, you know what, like, I'm gonna kind of sort of like tell my story, because so many people on Twitter had been asking me. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a video. So I went on Twitter Live, and I did a Twitter Live. I had no makeup on. I looked absolutely horrendous. And I kind of spoke the same way I'm speaking to you now, except I was a lot more of a blubbery mess. And people started saying, hey, like, you helped me. Or a girl came to me and said, you know, I wanted to take my own life last night, but because of you and seeing the fact that you got to the other side showed me that I shouldn't. Showed me that I am worth something and that I can do it. I may not know how right now, but I know that I can, and I eventually will get there. And so because of you, I didn't do that. I didn't go through with it. And I thank myself every single day for making that. I don't care how bad I looked. I don't care how bad I sounded. I saved a person's life. I saved a mother, her daughter. I saved a cousin. You know, I saved somebody that meant something to somebody, their life. And from then on, I stuck to that. I stuck to saying, hey, like, you can do things, empowering more people, letting people know that it's okay to be selfless, it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to let your guard down and really understand that you have to just keep growing and keep moving things. You are not stuck in one thing that you find yourself in right now. There's always two sides that you can choose from. You can choose to be destructive, and you can choose to be negative, and you can choose to constantly feel sorry for yourself, or you can just let it go. Like, you can just let go, be you, be unapologetically you, and stop feeling sorry for yourself, and understand, like, I may have these problems and I may have these issues, but that's what makes me me, and if nobody can accept me, then they don't deserve me anyways. And it kind of had a ripple effect on so many different people. I kept getting so many messages. And to those of you who are friends with Devin, who I have not seen on Facebook and Instagram and things like that, I thank you so much for your kind words. And I thank you for constantly checking on me, even though you don't know me, because it means the absolute world to me. And this is partially why I'm making this video. I want to introduce myself to y'all. I want to take the leap of faith and hope that, you know, I can at least get to somebody and through somebody's head and let them know that they can be better. Whether it's a mom going through postpartum depression, or whether it's a soldier wondering whether he can take another day or not, or if it's a daughter who just doesn't feel accepted by her parents and wants to be, letting them know that their acceptance isn't what makes you you. You make you you. And don't ever feel sorry for that, ever. And so with all of those things combined, that has made me who I am, and I would be stupid to stay quiet. I would be absolutely stupid and asinine to just think that I can just keep this to myself and my journey to myself and not help those who may need it, who may need the extra push. And going forward, I plan on growing with you, hearing your stories, and finding new things to go along with my life that can let you know that you can keep pushing and that you will always have somebody there for you. I will always be there for you. My phone is on 24/7. All you have to do is call, and I promise I will pick up. And after I said all of those things the first time, I woke up, I went to sleep, and I woke up to a message from, it was a very lengthy message sent at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And it was from this random girl that I did not know from Tennessee. Wow, that lighting change happened so quick. I didn't know who she was at all. And she said, hey, I have a disorder of myself, and I have my own issues. And I just want to let you know, because of what you said, I chose to do something about it. And I chose to get up and do something with my life that made it worthwhile. And we kind of just started talking, and then talking, and then talking, and then talking, and then talking some more. And then it turned into phone calls, and I'm pretty sure Devin got annoyed with how long I was on the phone. But it was so worth it. I instantly connected with Brittany, and she wound up being the person that I needed in my life, by my side at all times. And luckily, her fiance wound up being on Fort Benning, where I'm at. And he's pretty cool too, every now and again. And he's become like a older brother figure to me, and I would not trade either of them for the world now. And they wound up coming down and being my lovely my lovely people that I trust with my absolute life, and I am so grateful they're the ones that actually told me to do all of this. So you can thank them for pushing me to do it, because it took me like 45 minutes just to press the button and do it, because I was so scared of failure. But failure is okay, because you know what? I can just do it all over again. And so you'll be seeing a lot of them, and to know that I touched another person, she is now literally like the sister that I never had, and I have like an older brother that like I have been wanting for so long, and they are so close to me. It's like the world is so small, but what you say and what you do, especially with what's going on in the world right now, has a huge effect on those around you. And I am blessed to say that this was a positive turnout, and I am beyond lucky to have that happen to me. And my relationship also turned around completely as well. Me and Devin are stronger than we've ever been before, even before my accident. There's nothing that can tear us apart now. We told each other if we can get through this, we can get through anything, and we have. And I'm not gonna cry. I have lashes on, so I can't cry. I cannot put into words how much I love him. There are no words. There never will be words. Okay, I'm crying. If y'all see my makeup melt off, I'm sorry.
No need to cry. It's okay. No need to cry.
I could not ask for a better person to spend the rest of my life with. He wiped my butt. He bought me endless amounts of food. He let me cry on his shoulder. He drugged me into the garage for PT when I did not want to get up. He washed me. He clothed me. He made me strong enough to push forward and to keep going. And Victoria, you too. You know, the positive impact that both of you have on the world today is something that I admire so much, and that is something that I aspire to be. I see Devin get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go to work all day, and spend his time making an influence on the future of the Army and these kids, and coming home and having to take care of his 100% disabled, fiance that should be normal. I still battle with that. I still battle with wanting to be completely normal, and I understand that I won't be, but it's still a want, and something that I would really go back and change. But he reminds me that he reminds me that I am worth something when I feel like I am not worth anything. He lets me know that I am a part of a world that is bigger than me, and that I can do something with it, that I can choose to love people with just an endless love, no matter the color of their skin, the hearts that they have, the political views, no matter what it is, that they can be loved. And in today's world, that is all you can ask for. And so I stand here, I can't stand. Joke's on me. I sit here today letting you know that you have me always, and that there is a room, a door, a phone always available on my side of things for somebody who is struggling. But you have to be the one to take the step and do it. You have to be the one to get up and say, I'm gonna make myself a better person, not for anybody else but myself. And I'm going to put in the work to do so. You're not just gonna say it, but you're gonna do it. And that is something that you really have to come to an understanding with. Otherwise, you're just gonna fail. And then you're gonna fail. And then you're gonna get more tired. And coming from somebody who knows that is not a side of things that you want to be on, because the comeback is so much harder. So just take the step, do it with all that you have, and you have me backing you up, and I guarantee you that there are thousands of people out there who are also backing you up. And anything is achievable. You can overcome any situation that you are given. And that's who I am. This is who I am. I am in a wheelchair, but I am not a wheelchair, if that makes sense. And with that being said, many of you are familiar with our hashtag Addie Strong. It started the night of my accident, and we have several shirts. I'm going to post them in the link below this. They are awesome. You can get them and rep them. That would be awesome. And then I'll also post all my social media handles below. I'm not going to put my phone number because I feel that's a little much, but you can email me, you can message me on any social media platform, whether it be you need help, whether it be you need anything that gives you that extra push to be better. I will be that person for you. And while this is not anything professional, and I totally struggle with, at least making sure that I'm like halfway decent at these because my makeup's like all smeared, I'm trying, and this will get better as we go on. And if you watch this, I thank you so much for your support and taking the time to really listen and understand that you are more than an injury, you are more than a disorder, and you are more than the negativity that anybody puts in your life. And these are what the shirts look like. They have a cow because I love cows and my background. And then on the back, it's the hashtag Addie Strong. And so you can get these. They vary in prices. And they ship, I think, within a week and a half, too. They're normally pretty quick. But that is my starters. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything, you are more than able to reach out to me on social media. You can comment down on this YouTube link. And please subscribe because this is not going to be a one-time thing. I plan on taking you on this with me. So with that, thank you very much. And I can't wait to see you next time.